When the aliens first invaded, they nearly destroyed us. They will be back. There's greatness in you, Ender. The world needs you. You were bred for this. You see things in a way we can't. You alone can understand the enemy. You will be the one to save mankind.
Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game is a story that follows boy genius Ender Wiggin as he's being trained to be the next great military leader against the oncoming Formic War. Now, if you're like me and you've read the book, you've been waiting for this movie for a long time. Luckily, Ben and I got to see it last night. So Ben, tell us what you thought.
Well, as you mentioned, you read the book, I didn't. But I did get to see all the hype surrounding it prior to its release, and I didn't think it quite lived up to it. I mean, I went in with pretty low expectations to begin with, considering it was, directed and co-written by Gavin Hood, who did X-Men Origins Wolverine,
right.
And I still haven't fully forgiven him for that yet. But the biggest problem that Ender's Game had was that it was just too rushed. It was like the plot was going through the motions, and it wasn't really allowing its audience to connect emotionally.
And that's actually really accurate, because there's obviously a lot was left out of the book, but at the same time, the movie didn't give time for the characters to really develop. It was just kind of like, oh, here's Ender. Oh, he's beating a kid up now. Oh, he's going to school now. Okay.
Right. This easily could have been a trilogy of movies, and I'm surprised that Summit didn't take that route, considering they don't really have a big franchise at the moment, that will carry them like Twilight did.
Right.
But then again, I wouldn't want to sit through another 2 Gavin Hood movies.
True. Maybe if it's directed by someone else.
Right. And one of my biggest problems was that the big moments didn't feel big, and because the plot was so rushed, even when they did kind of feel big, we weren't given the time to react.
Right. Is this spoiler-free, by the way? Or
it's supposed to be spoiler-free.
Okay.
But if you can talk about this without
I think we can.
Completely ruining something.
Well, okay, so there was the part at the end that you even leaned into me, and you said that there was, this big event just happened, and now it's over. It was totally glossed over, it seemed like.
Absolutely. And, another thing that they glossed over that I was, upset about was the relationship with his sister.
Right.
And I believe in the book, it was a lot more established that there was a bigger relationship.
There was a bigger relationship with his sister and his brother. There was a lot more about his brother. And we only saw his brother for, a few scenes, I think, and that was still at the beginning.
Right. With all this lack of character development, it's a shame that they had such a great cast, because they all went to waste. I mean, Asa Butterfield was great. He was perfect.
He was.
Abigail Breslin, amazing. Ben Kingsley, always great. Harrison Ford, he's Harrison
Ford.
But they did the best they could with what they had.
Right. And on top of that, now that we're on kind of a positive track, it was visually stunning as well. What else? There was something else that I really liked. Oh, there were actually some good moments in it. There were moments that I was sitting there and I was I was really into them. I knew what was going to happen, but I was really enjoying it. It was being built up well. The scenes in the battle room were really cool, especially when he first went in and took everyone out. But
so Kenny, from a person who has read the book's perspective, on the infamous Pretentious Film Majors 5-star scale, what would you give Ender's Game?
I think I would give Ender's Game
3. Well, I would give it 2.5 out of 5 stars.
In 3, 2, 1, now!
That does it for this review. To check out more from the Pretentious Film Majors, don't forget to like us on Facebook, go to pretentiousfilmmajors.com, check us out on Twitter at PFM Show, and, of course, subscribe.